Hello everyone, my name is Christian White, and this is my Lesson 11 video reflection and analysis video. So the first question is, why do relationship conflicts as opposed to task and process conflicts potentially lead to most dysfunctional and harmful conflicts? Well, the main reason for this is it leads from personal issues. In the workplace, you try to focus on your work, but when it comes to outside issues like somebody's, let's just say, beliefs, whether that goes from a very low end of the spectrum to a very high end of the spectrum, become emotional, distracting, can't really resolve the issue because you look at somebody in a different way, and it can hurt the team from overall completing their tasks. When you're with somebody on a daily basis, when it comes to a relationship conflict, it can lead to many days where you don't have much to do, so you have to talk to one another. And when you talk too much, it leads to getting into your personal life. And when you get into your personal life, if you don't align with that person, it can lead to these issues. Everybody's personable by nature to any degree, but a lot of people, especially in the workplace, you don't choose to be around these people probably outside of work. If you do, good for you. That means you probably don't have a lot of conflict within that. But when you don't know the person very much and you're only with them in a work setting, and then you start to display these beliefs on a different level of, all right, I believe in this and you believe in that, and we can't see eye to eye on things. So now when I go into a work setting and I display these beliefs, I can't work with you because now I see you in a different light. I don't see you as the work person that's sitting next to me or across from me on that daily basis. I see what your personal beliefs are, and that's not necessarily a great thing, but it does lead to hurting your team, and it doesn't help getting things done. It could break down your trust in somebody and just the safety of the overall workplace, which is never good for that. So when it comes to relationship conflicts, this can be very dysfunctional and harmful, because at the end of the day, you don't ever want it to happen, but it does. In the bigger picture of it, this can lead to people being fired, or being separated, which leads to another person being put into that position, and then you have to align with that person. So that's pretty much how it could be harmful and is the most harmful outcome, because when you're in a process conflict or a task conflict, there are certain guidelines that need to be met in order to resolve these issues. There's a right and there's a wrong. When it comes to relationship conflict, it becomes very personal, and you can't really figure out how to choose who's right or wrong and who's the mediator in that situation. So that's the overall conflict for that one. The second question is, of the 5 conflict management strategies, A, which do you believe are most likely to occur in a conflict between 2 unequal parties, a manager and employee, a board of directors and its CEO, or a large company and a small supplier? Or B, which do you believe are most likely to occur in a conflict between 2 equal parties, similarly sized companies, team members, or department heads? Discuss either A or B. So I chose A, which would be the unequal parties. So I chose more of the higher ups to like an employee, like a manager to an employee, let's say. This happens a lot at my job. Just to give you a personal outcome, the boss in most circumstances is always going to be right, and the employee, all in all, has to be forgiving isn't the right word, but kind of just let it go. So let's just say a manager insists on a decision without the input of the employee. Employees run your company at the end of the day. I'm a lower level employee at the end of the day, but whatever my boss says goes. So it's more used by the dominant side of the manager says, all right, this is the way it needs to be. This is the way it's going. No ifs, ands, or buts. And that's not typically a culture you'd like to be in. Um, the other one that's kind of like the forcing way of doing it is dominating the employee. The other one would be like the accommodating. This one's most likely used by the less powerful party, and it's kind of just giving up and letting it go to that person. It's not always the right thing to do, but it is what you have to do in most circumstances because you don't run that company. And at the end of the day, if you're looking to a manager, you have to say yes to them. For the third question is based on the three types of trust: disposition based, cognition based, and effect based. Which one do you believe most people use in workplace? With specific references to your answer on types of trust of the three trust drivers: authenticity, logic, and empathy. Which one would best help you explain the type of trust most use? Explain your answer. So the one that I would think is the most used in the workplace is the cognition-based trust, which means that it's been proven that based off of a long time of you being reliable, competent, and professional is what drives this one home, and why it's the most used one. Rather than in the workplace, most people aren't emotional, which would be the effect-based trust. Relies a lot on emotions, which is not good for the workplace. You want to be able to get your work done and not worry about anybody else's emotions. And you don't want to rely solely on somebody's gut feeling or their personality, which would be the disposition-based trust. Instead, the trust is earned over time, and it shows that somebody is capable and consistent and has good judgment. When you've proven over time that you're able to get the job done, and that just takes a while, more people are going to trust you. More people are going to rely on you in order to trust you. If I come to you with an issue, I want to make sure that you can get it done. I'm not going to go to somebody that has a 50-50 chance in order to get it done. I want somebody with a track record in order to get these things done. And in sports, that happens a lot with contracts when they're getting a big salary contract. They get those big salaries because they've proven before in past seasons that they can get these things done, and it happens the same thing in the workplace. The best driver to explain the condition-based trust is logic. When somebody is clear, they have good judgment, and they are good at decision making, that really helps drive home why I would trust that person the most. So that would be like the, the smart choices are always the good ones. When it doesn't really need to be thought about really hard, it's the logical one. Going back to logic, not everybody is logical, so you want to make sure that everything is being dealt in the right manner. It doesn't matter if you trust the person right away, but it matters if they're getting the job done. That's the big one on why you would trust somebody to do it. It would be, all right, they have a track record of getting this done. So going back to the question, it would be, what is the most used one? I would say the cognition-based one, because it doesn't rely on other people's personalities or emotions. It relies strictly off statistics. And going off of my past in sports, I would say stats don't lie. If you are 10 for 10 on your last, few shots or whatever, you are pretty confident in that person that they're going to go make their 11th and 12th and 13th. Obviously, somebody's due for a bad decision or a bad shot every once in a while, but their track record, if you're 9 for 10, you shooting 90%, I'm going to take the 90% A any day. I'm 100% riding with that no matter what, because they have a track record of getting it done. It doesn't matter if you don't like their personality or their emotions. It's work. It's not based off somebody's emotions. It's if they can get the job done, that's what's going to make you money. So going on to the fourth question. Think of a situation where you could use the integrative bargaining strategy. Which one of the four integrative bargaining strategies separate the people from the problem, focus on interests, not positions, generate a variety of possibilities, insist on some fair standards. Would you use? Explain your answer. So I think it's important to understand the integrative bargaining strategy. The integrative bargaining strategy is basically like a mutual gain. I win, you win, win win. And that's always the best outcome. You don't want to win lose. You want to everybody to work together and everybody to benefit the same way. So in a situation that I came up with would be something in my personal work. As I've said before in a couple of videos that I've made, I work at a baseball store on Forest Hill Boulevard here. It's actually pretty close to the college, and I'm an employee, and my boss is who I worked with directly. He's, you could say, a manager. There's only a couple of people that work at the store, but I made their first website. So I deal with a lot of their internet sales. So I've put everything on the website. I've put a lot of effort into getting this thing off the ground. When it comes to advertising, when it comes to getting people that come into our physical store, getting them to shop on our website. And going forward into this new year, we have to order stuff, pretty on, once a year is when things get made. So you have to kind of plan for that situation. So I'm actually planning on having this conversation actually very shortly with my boss. So this was actually a good question that came up. So the question would be, what are we going to lean more into? Are we going to lean more into our internet sales, or are we going to be more relied on our in-store customers? Granted, our in-store customers are more daily customers more than our internet customers. We get hundreds of people that walk in the door a day, where we get 30 to 40 views online a day and maybe 1 or 2 sales compared to 20, 25 sales in-store. But here's where the problem lies, is online we have, big items, stuff upwards of $100, whether it could be, I work at it's a baseball equipment store, so it would be, a glove or a bat. And these things can range from anywhere from $100 all the way up to $500. So if I get a sale in the middle of the day, the store just made $400 and we didn't have to sell anything. Everything was bought online. A lot of stuff is being put online now. So this is where I would lie. This is where it would be favored to me. The other question would be, do we rely on our in-store customers? Or do we prioritize them? We have to carry pants, socks, and belt for the uniform for them. So a sock is only $12, a belt's $12, and pants could be anywhere from $30, $40 to $50. So you can rack it up and get it to that point, but you're not having as big of a sale on that flip side. So you could have 20 to 25 sales in that day, but I just made what you did in 5 sales in 1 on my internet. So that kind of just lays the framework for that, and kind of the situation that I was putting this in. But our interests are aligned. So, we both want to increase the revenue of the store. The revenue, make sure that he makes more money. And I'm not on commission-based salary, but if I were to be making a commission-based salary, let's just put it in that situation, that would increase my revenue too. So that goes back to the integrative bargaining strategy, to where we both benefit from this. Even though he is my higher up, it could still benefit both of us because it is a part of my job title, and that's what I take pride in. I want to capitalize on the online traffic and meet the growing demands. So growth. So where I would step in and be like, all right, I need to make sure that I have every size in these bats, so I have a open array to these customers. To where the flip side of that would be, I want to use that money that might be using for the online sales, but I want to take that over and really load up on our socks, belts, and pants to make sure that we have everything full. We have backstock in it, so when we run out of all 10 pairs that are out on the floor, I can go grab 10 more from the back and put them out. So that's just kind of where it kind of recycles. So where are you willing to invest that money? It could be the same amount of money, but one bat also means 25 pair of pants when it comes to that point, however it equals out, or socks or belts. So that's where the kind of conflict lies. So based on this shared interest, my resolution, with the second part of the question being, with the four strategies, focus on interest, not position, generate a variety of possibilities, insist on some fair standards, what would you use? So I would kind of in the middle here. I would say do a trial, um, of starting this year. This is our first year being online, so I would try to build up on our main sizes, not on every single bat that we order, for that, but what was our most popular one last year? So let's just say it was a high school bat that we really sold high on last year. I want to make sure that I have every size in that, not on every single bat that we have in the entire store when it comes all the way from 18 years old all the way down to the 10-year-old ones, but I want to make sure I focus on those high school guys. So that can kind of be in the middle. Make sure we get a trial run of it, and in a few months, if I can look at the data and we make sure that we are there, we're able to put out our pants, belt, and socks and make sure that we have everything there that we need. I can make sure that that at least our statistics in store and out of store, or they're lining up to where we need to favor more. All right, we need to go more into younger age groups and make sure that we build up on there. So I had a couple abandoned checkout carts of maybe it was a size that we didn't have in those bats, and I lost a $400 sale because I couldn't get that. So that would kind of be my a fair standard of it. Make sure there's a hybrid of both going on. So that answers all four questions, and that will complete my video.